Game over, man. It's game over.
All right, so I am Tim,
And I'm Joe.
and you are watching Playing Games Poorly. This is our brand new video podcast. We'll go with that.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So in lieu of Halloween, we were deciding to take on Castlevania 3, which, dear God, is a very hard game.
It is a very hard game.
So the whole point of this show kind of is I haven't played this game in forever.
Neither have I.
And we really wanted to capture our first runs at these, which doesn't always come out to be the best.
No.
A lot of the games on YouTube are going to be polished and nice, and they're going to get you to the final boss. This is not that video. This is us kind of sucking and figuring our way through it.
Yeah.
So we are starting right now. This is the kind of the edge of Dracula's castle right in the beginning. This is my first time playing. This is one of my favorite games. I'm a huge fan of the Castlevania series. I've never actually beaten this game, so this is the other fun part of this whole thing. I've beaten 1, I've beaten 2, and I've beaten 4. And stuff like that is why this game is hard.
It's just so hard to see where the jumps are. You just kind of fall into nothing after there was a ledge before you, and then all of a sudden there's not.
Like, I got hit because of that screen. That screen just moved up, and then was like, nope,
Yeah.
not today.
Yeah, you could stand on it a second before, and then it's a pit.
So, what was your favorite Castlevania game when you were getting into these?
My favorite Castlevania game is probably Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis, but, as with anything else, we gotta play tribute to, Castlevania 3.
Well, Castlevania 3, the show on Netflix has come out.
Yes.
And that's mainly based on Castlevania 3.
Yes. So this game has other characters that you can play as. You can unlock Alucard and the other ones, and they, in that aspect, you can use their abilities to get through other parts of the game.
Yeah. I will pre-tell you right now, we did not make it to Alucard.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. If we did, we would not be playing games poorly.
Yeah. Alucard is actually the stage after we end up just kind of rage quitting the game. We gave it a good probably hour's time of playing, and this is a cut down version of that. So you'll see a couple of our runs through it. This is me playing, I think, the first time through, and then Joe will do a run after this.
It's just we try to figure stuff out. We're looking for where do you go? How do you do this? The stairs. The stairs are your biggest enemy in this game. Like, it just...
Well, the stairs are your biggest enemy in any Castlevania game.
That is true, to be fair.
Except for 4, because you can whip in any direction.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yes, they definitely... And then, of course, in later editions, they took it away. And I'm like, what are you doing? It was like the best thing they could have done for the series, and then they took it away.
Yeah, well, a lot of the later editions were also ports of other ones. So, like, Dracula X was a port of Rondo of Blood.
Right.
And they messed up a couple things on it. But this one is for gameplay. I mean, it's a pretty clean feeling game. I feel like they upped the difficulty quite a bit between 1 and this.
Yes, they definitely did.
Plus, they got rid of the adventure style in 2.
Well, 2 is almost its own separate game, kind of like how Zelda was. It had the open field, and then they did like the leveling up system, and then they're like, oh, that didn't work. Let's go back to what worked. And that's what I liked about 3 was that it had the nostalgia of 1, but the fact that you could be other characters if you unlock them.
Yeah, and the idea was you're gonna unlock them along your journey and your adventure. And they definitely help you out in the game, because I know as Alucard you can turn into a bat. I've used some cheat codes to get higher in other places, but that'll be for a different video, a different day.
Yeah. We may even revisit this game at a later time. We just wanted to try to get something out to show you, how the difficulty kind of ramps up from even the first few stages of this, you know, where you're just walking, and then now you have enemies, and now there's platforming, and
Yeah, the nice part about any of these Castlevania games, or even a lot of the Konami games, is you get unlimited continues. So even if you really suck like we are in this video, you just start back at the beginning of the level, which is a huge help.
yeah, you don't have to start the whole game over. Which
So I mean, that's how I beat the first Castlevania. Was I spent the time and really worked at certain levels, and I might spend an hour on just trying to get one level done.
yeah, and that's part of the thing is, you know, it's like with anything else. You play something enough, you'll eventually beat it. You know, but for us, it's
Did Capcom do that? Did they do unlimited continues and stuff?
No, that was more of a Konami thing. That was specifically what they did was the unlimited continues thing.
And it wasn't all of them, because
No, not all.
the Turtles, they didn't have unlimited continues. I think they had like 6 or 9 or
No,
something
but
like that.
the Castlevanias specifically, they liked to do that because it made, at least for Konami, it was kind of what made the game, because it was such a hard game, and without that advantage, you would just, you know, if you had to start the whole game all over again, it would just be way too difficult of a game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the nice part as a kid. Like, I liked the monsters and stuff in this, and having the ability to kind of work at it a little bit. Like, I didn't get that with Mario. When I died at Mario was a really hard game.
Yeah.
For those that don't know. So this is now Joe's attempt in this. This is him actually beating the boss.
Yeah.
And he finds probably the greatest way to beat this boss that I've seen.
Well, I tricked him. Like I was like, "Oh, you're gonna follow me? Well, I'm gonna make you go around in a circle, and I'm gonna attack you, you know, at your weakest point." I was like, "All right, let's play a game here for a second." And
This is just the Knights of Monty Python going, "Run away! Run away!"
it worked. It I actually impressed myself. I'm like, "All right, you're gonna go do that. Well, I'm gonna go and murder your face." So.
But this is a good example of how a lot of these games, they really work at patterns, especially guys like this Knight. Like, if you can trap them in, well, like a couple months ago we were playing Kirby, and a lot of those bad guys were all patterns.
Oh yeah, once we mastered the pattern, same thing. You know, it was unlimited continues, and like if you figured it out, eventually you'd get it right, and eventually you'd beat it. Now here I was trying to decide if I wanted to go to the upper floors or the down. This is kind of like a choose your own adventure game, which I like about this too, is the fact that its replayability is so high. You can go multiple different paths as you go.
Yeah, so if you go up, I think you go more towards like the clock tower. If you go down, you go towards the swamp. And I think that's how you get each of the unlockable characters. If you do all the up paths, you end up getting like the
Instant death.
the witch, or the the witch. And then if you go down, you end up getting Alucard.
Right. Now this part always, you know, made me upset was the fact that, you know, sure you're getting crushed, but like you get hit once and you're dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of instant kills in Castlevania. That is something that is notorious in these games.
Well, it wasn't even just, I mean, you always get knocked toward a pit, but, you know, you get hit by the spikes and you're done, and that's it. You know, and then you got to start over.
So a couple months back, you and I played Super Castlevania 4, and to get through it, we used Game Genie on a couple things, but still, it doesn't protect you from these like instant kills, and some of those levels took us a while to get through, even with kind of cheating to get through them.
Well, you can only cheat so far in some games. I mean, like I said, you know,
especially these, because there's so many pits and so many instant deaths. Like, it protected you from a couple enemies that, by the time we were getting through the levels, we weren't even having any enemies that were really hitting us anyways. So it's still a lot of skill to get through these games.
Well, part of it was the memorization of like you said, you knowing where something. And then here, this background, I absolutely hate this background because I'm never sure where to go. So I'm like trying it out. I was like, oh, do I go over here? No. And I'm like, can I step on this? It was just so deceiving. That's the one thing I didn't like about this was the background almost blends into itself, and you're, can I walk on this? You know,
yeah.
Where do I go? And
that's something that definitely in the 16-bit era, it seemed like it was a little better.
Yeah, because there was more. The graphics were better, and you could see things better. That it wasn't as muted as this was, where everything kind of blends together. Which, if you're trying to immerse yourself in it, it was great. But when you're trying to run through it and play it, it just was too difficult.
I do like these owls though. These owls are beautiful.
Oh, right.
These are beautiful sprites for owls.
Well, it was fun because, like I said, they were part of the background, and then they, you saw the eyes, and then they came to attack you. So it was just a different element to the game that was just fun.
Yeah, I mean this you didn't have in the first Castlevania. In Castlevania 1, you had kind of like a graveyard. I really liked that you got to be outside the castle a little bit in these early ones
versus just being inside.
Versus the new ones where it's that like Castle Metroid style that they end up just putting you inside the castle and it's a giant maze. I liked exploring, and I like that the castle layout has very similar elements in every single game that you go, including Bloodlines. Like they have that whole section where you're kind of going down, and they have the water people and all that.
Yes.
So you like playing with the other guy?
Yeah, Eric. It was because he had a lance. It was just different. I mean, everybody's a big fan of the. It's the whip and it's the vampire killer. It's like, yeah, but
I sometimes want to whip stuff.
I know, but
Devo told me to whip it, so
yeah,
I tried to whip it good.
And right there, I jumped off the cliff because I was like, well, where do I go? I don't know where to go, and then I figured out, oh, you have to go up because those are stairs, but they don't look like stairs because they look like part of the background. So again,
yeah, those are not platforms on the background. That's the tough part. But you can hit the candles, so it definitely throws everything off a little bit.
It does, and that was like part of it was just this trial and error of, well, where do I go? I haven't played this game in so long that I can't remember what I do and where I go. You kind of have to die a few times to figure out where do I go. And one of the other similar things is right here. I'm killing the enemies, and then I go, well, do I go to the left or to the right? So I go over to the left here. Nope, that's not right. Why did they have that there? It's completely unnecessary unless you want to...
Just to throw you off and maybe think that you have a leap of faith or something.
Exactly, and then you do, and then, you jump off the cliff and then you die.
That's some Mario Maker shit going on. Though.
Pretty much.
Like, we're just going to put this cliff to try and throw you off.
Just to throw you off for no reason in particular.
So what's... Of the Castlevanias, of all of them, because I think most of our viewers are going to be pretty familiar with these games. What's your favorite, like, bad guys in these? What's your favorite bosses and stuff? Minus Dracula. We're not counting Dracula.
Oh yeah, can't count Dracula. I mean, like I said, I like the Knight. I think the Knight's a lot of fun. Like I said, sometimes it's the ones that feel they immerse you. Like I said, some of the other Castlevanias they had. Like your Frankenstein rip-offs and things like that.
Well, those weren't rip-offs. That was actually kind of an homage to the Universal monsters.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's why in the first Castlevania they said that they gave some tribute. Like Bela Lugosi was the one that played Dracula in the movie, and that's who they gave an actual credit to, and they gave credits to the director and stuff of all of those movies. But the enemies in it were Frankenstein and Wolfman and the Mummy and Death and all that. Yeah, those are all pretty much Universal monsters that they were kind of going off of. I thought that was a really clever, fun thing in here. So right now, this is quicksand also, so you have to constantly be jumping. Well, I'm gonna call it quicksand, but it's a swamp. But
I mean, it is quicksand because you sink, but then you can jump out of it. But these frogs, they have a pattern, but you almost have to lead off on them. Otherwise, they're just gonna attack you, and they take so much of your life away that getting to the next section with a decent amount of life is near impossible.
That was the thing that I really noticed in this game was that you had. Things took your life away like crazy. You just got bit by stairs.
Like the stairs.
So we're going to just kind of fast forward and jump through because I had a good run solidly on this just to kind of get all the way through. We took a lot of tries to get through this whole section.
It just was such a hard level.
And this is just to kind of give you a little montage of how many tries it took us to really, really get through to see what you're going to see. So this is a good run. This is a good, solid run that we had now.
Solid in quotes because making
you'll see. But
making it through this without taking any damage is so hard because
it's rough. It's one of those. If you work at it enough, I definitely think you can.
Yeah, they just take so much damage away from one hit. I mean, it took 2 hits and I'm already at half life. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I play pretty aggressively, so it's. I think this might be one of my runs in this. So, but yeah, you know, all that stuff was all based off of the Universal like monster movies and things that. Yeah. And now they have a Netflix series on it.
Yeah.
So I got to talk a little bit about this on my podcast. That for our Halloween special, we did a lot of stuff on Castlevania and the Universal monster movies, and mentioned that this is going to be released too. So if you want to hear my full opinion on that, you can go over to Screen Shuffle and we talk a little bit more in depth on it because we spent a good hour on it of just those like themes and things. But.
Some shameless self-promoting there, which we will put a link to Screen Shuffle in the description. If you're a big fan of
either of these things,
of some movies, and you want to head over to Screen Shuffle, we encourage you to and take a listen because you know we're gonna try to do some type of Playing Games Poorly-esque podcast, and like I said, if you like what you hear, you can hear things about movies and such. The damn stairs! Oh my God, these stairs! Okay, so if you ask me what enemy is the hardest in this game, it's the damn stairs. It's the stairs.
So, I mean, I'm gonna break my own rule of saying that Dracula is the thing. So when I made it through Dracula X, that is the hardest Dracula that I've ever had to face.
Well, yeah, and then of course
I took some pictures of it. I think did I show you the pictures of it?
You did.
You literally have to jump from platform to platform, and if you fall off a platform, you instantly die.
Oh yeah.
So you're dodging all of his bullshit and also trying to like do hard platforming.
Which conversely, if we're going to be talking about hard Draculas, the easiest Dracula was in Dracula 2, or in Castlevania 2. The second Dracula there.
You don't even have to hit him. You can walk by him, right?
No, that's the death. You could just walk right by. No, you use the fire spell, and the way that works is that there's like invincibility. There's a few seconds where it takes effect, so he can't respond to the fireball, so you just spam the fireball until he dies. Literally, you don't have to do anything else. The boss beats itself, and it's supposed to be the end game boss, and he's the easiest one.
So this is a pretty typical last bad guy on this, and we're getting just about to our end. And you're going to see a bunch of our attempts on this. But so the bat was the first boss in the first Castlevania movie, but it didn't split into like tiny little bats. You just were able to like kind of hit it and go. But as you can see, like our health is never good trying to get into this.
Yeah, so we're always at a disadvantage because
you don't respawn right at the beginning of the boss on this. You respawn at the last section, which is a pretty difficult piece to get through.
You got to get through that, and by the time, and like I said, you take 3 hits and you're already at 1 bar of life.
So I mean, we spent a lot of time trying to just get past this to make it a little bit longer video, and as you see, I'm on 1 bar of health to even try and beat this thing, and it's tough. And I mean, luckily I got it this far, and I could not get my shot, and that was it.
That was literally it.
So I just want to say thank you everybody for listening and watching our videos, and head on over to Retro Takeout, give us a like,
comment,
or subscribe. Have a good week.
Thank you.